Good morning. We've got to get a semi-truck out of the shop today. We're done with this. We're going to bring our sprayer in, start working on that. Check this out. Dad got himself a new tool. He's taken all the profits from my wood floor that he made, zero, and invested them into a wood shaper so we can make tongue and groove boards and do all kinds of stuff. It's got some tooling that came with it, found it used, and gonna have all kinds of fun with this. Essentially, it's a heavy duty router table. Well, you'll have fun with that. All right, we're gonna move a truck out of here. Let's start it up. Probably needs to build air again. Okay, I put this in out here, but I did not hook it up to that trailer. Like I said yesterday, probably gonna actually go hook that up to our tender trailer and not the grain trailer, because Phil just uses the new truck whenever he can for hauling grain out of the bins, since we only really run one truck in the winter, or when we're hauling. Phil just does it. We don't need this one hooked up, and we probably won't do much grain with it until wheat harvest. Letting it warm up a little bit before we bring it in here. Dad already had the doors open because he was taking that shaper out. We'll just give it a couple minutes. All right, so we're gonna start with engine oil. The sprayer has a drain, much like the 9R, with a valve on it there, the 90. So I'm gonna thread this hose in there to get it down into a bucket easier so it's not splattering all over. Well, that's not ideal, but it should work. We'll open the valve and hold our hose, and then we'll figure out where it's gonna shoot to. Right there, okay, that'll work. And I didn't even get a whole face full of it today. That's a win. So the sprayer is the same vintage as the 8430. That's a 2009, this is a 2010. Same motor, same cab, same basically the powertrain is the same. Well, I shouldn't say that. Obviously the transmission and hydrostat everything is different on here, but the engine and cab is the same. So same filters, same oil, same capacity, same. While that finishes draining, we'll go upstairs and get our pile of filters. And there is a pile up there. All right, so when servicing the sprayer, there's a lot to do to it really, but mostly what we're doing here right now is just engine and filters and that kind of stuff. I'm not really doing anything with the liquid system and servicing that at all. Looks like we need to top off our coolant. It's right at the low fill mark, which is not bad, but we could put just a little bit in there. But I'm going to change the oil filter. We're going to change the fuel filters. We're going to change the air filters and the hydraulic oil filters. I need to get the book out. Well, I got to put a monitor in it too so I can tell how many hours we've got on it. But I'm not going to go through and do anything with the spray system, with the pump, with the nozzles and any of that. Dad takes care of that. He has run the sprayer a lot more than I have and knows all of that stuff and what needs to be done and how and when and all of that. And he's got to change nozzles and put our stream nozzles on for putting the 28 on the wheat. So my job is to get it ready for him to go and do that. So that means changing the oil and the filters and putting the floater tires on. So that's today and tomorrow's project, I think. One thing I do really want him to do, though, is make sure our nozzle bodies are all the same. That drove me crazy last year when I was spraying. See this? This nozzle is different than this nozzle, and I want to be able to rotate them all the same. To make it easy. But some of them you turn one way, some of you turn the other way. See, those nozzle bodies, there's 5 different nozzles on there, and you can just turn them to select a different one. It's nice when they all match, but that's me being picky. One difference between the sprayer and the 8430 is that the sprayer has no built-in displays, right? There's nothing on this corner post. There's nothing on the side panel here. It does not have anything to give me any sprayer data, information, RPMs, fuel, tank level, hours, any of that. It's all run through the 2630. And so I need to have that in here in order to display that information and find out how many hours we've got. So I just put one back on here. This is just a backup camera. It's not actually connected to anything. So we're gonna start that up and see how many hours we've got on this machine. Yeah, then I'll show you something. Our GPS receiver can't view the sky. Who would have figured? All right, so we gotta set this up. Oh, it's still loading. Let those bars finish. There's the Starfire. And that one's going to be for the sprayer. Come on. Done. Okay, so we click the sprayer. Total engine hours, 2,022. Where'd it go? Right there. 2,022 hours. So we need to go and see what we had on it last year. Easiest way to tell that, look at the filter. $17.99. So we're at 1,800. We're at 2022. That means we put 223 hours on it this year. And check this out. I swear it is pure coincidence when this happens. 3/15 of 21. March 15th. Cool. Cool. 1 year to the day. Okay, well, I got a little bit of stuff done. We got that fuel filter changed. Air filter, I got that screen in the cab there, but apparently our babysitter is not watching kids today, so I have to go pick up Brayson from school, which is good. But we're going to let that oil continue to drain while I'm gone. I might make a couple of other stops along the way. We'll be back this afternoon to get some more of the service work done here, and I'll have Brayson with me, so that'll be fun. But anyway, see you guys in a little bit. Finally, we made it back to the farm, Brayson. You going to take your backpack in? Why don't you leave in the truck till we go home? Oh, okay. You'll see. We gotta go in the house and we're in the shop and work on the sprayer for a while. You coming in here? Or do you just want to go into Grandma's? Oh, we gotta take that in the house. Okay, he's gonna go cruising around on the creeper, and we are gonna finish changing the oil. We gotta get oil put in this. All right. Well, we'll get that pumping while I go find the book and look up the capacity. Crankcase, including filter, 32.8 quarts. It'll take a minute. Scoop it up. Good job. Okay. Now go put it on that pile or that spot. We're soaking up some oil. You gotta spread it out a little better. There, like that. Okay, that's good. Thank you.
What do you think you are? You gonna drive it or what? You better be careful, you'll fall. Huh. That ain't the way it goes on. You little goofball.
Alright, I got the fuel filters off. The one was a real bear to get off, but we got it. So I'll get the new ones around and put on there. This does have a little pre-filter strainer thing there that says 2018 on it. So I think we're going to go ahead and change that one. That one doesn't get changed every year. It doesn't need to be, but 4 years is enough. Okay, I'm halfway through my filter change, fuel filters. Brayson wants to go in the back and see the new tractor. So, I mean, who doesn't want to go in the back and see the new tractor? I do too. I should work on my window a little bit more, see if I can get that paper off of that sticker. It wasn't going well last time I tried, so we'll see. Hey, what are you doing up there? No fear, I tell you. None. King of the world, yeah. Well, there. I got it. So last week, was that last week? A week and a half ago? I don't know. Whenever I was working on that, I sprayed window cleaner underneath before we stuck the letters to it, and then the letters didn't stick to the window, so I kind of just let it sit for a while, and they seem to be better. Got 1 or 2 spots where I ripped a little bit of a letter or wrinkled it a little bit, but can't tell from here, can you? She looks good. All right, back to this project. So we'll get our filter tightened on there. I'm gonna go ahead and order a new housing for this. I think the threads are screwed up in this one a little bit. I got it on there, but I had to use the filter wrench to get it on, so that's probably why it came off so hard. So rather than fighting that every year, I'm gonna order a new one and put it on the shelf so that next year when we change it, we know and we can just put it on there. So anyway, they are done. Okay, cab air filter is way up underneath here somewhere. Up there. Right up there in that cover. Okay, so here's that cab filter, and you can see it's not very dirty, especially for cab filters. Those ones are notorious for getting filthy. However, I am going to change this one anyway because, well, this is a sprayer, and so we actually use a charcoal filter, carbon charcoal block inside there. This is a very expensive, very fragile filter, but it takes all of the chemical residue and pesticides out of the air when we're spraying. And for most of them, it's not a big deal. I don't care that much. The one that is a big deal is when we're spraying insecticide, which I did spray a fair bit of insecticide this past year, and we're going to plan on doing more next year. So I put new charcoal filters in the sprayer every year. Also, the Recirc Air filter is also a carbon filter. This one goes inside the cab. Pretty sure what that says. Yeah. So we that's a PPE kind of thing that we're trying to make sure we're taking care of ourselves when we're using the sprayer. Driving a forklift now. All right, I got that cab filter in. We're going to go ahead and put this Recirc one in. This is the one that goes in the cab. It's pulling air from the cab and through the fan and recirculating it back through the vents. So anything that happens to make it in would get caught in this. Helps keep the dust down for sure, but also that chemical residue, so goes down back there. All right, next up we've got a couple of hydraulic oil filters. There's one right there that's easy to get to, and then there are 2 up here that are relatively easy to get to. That one and that big, well, they're the same. So looks like we got a little oil leak up there. I don't know, see if we can pinpoint it, but it's not dripping on the floor like crazy, so nothing too concerning. We do need to clean this. That is in my plan for tomorrow, to do a little power washing on this because it's supposed to be super nice tomorrow. So eventually oil's going to drip out of there, right onto those hoses, probably into my face again. And maybe, if we're lucky, end up in the catch pan that I got underneath there. I don't know if we're that lucky. There, now you can see. Ah! That almost worked. I told you. Onto the hoses. Into the catch pan. We spilled a little. It's what? Don't touch it. Okay. All right. Well, we've got the filters changed and everything that we needed to do service work wise. For the most part, I'm pretty sure. And that sprayer. Brayson wants to go for Gatorade, and it is super nice out, isn't it, Brayson? Yeah. So we're gonna go for Gatorade. Let's go check on some of our wheat. We'll do a little crop tour in here this afternoon. All right, let's go for a ride. Oh, we got a seed truck we gotta go unload, Brayson. Look, see it over there? Yeah. We'll do that, and then we'll go for a Gatorade. Should we get out and look at our wheat field, Brayson? Okay, let's stop out here and go look. So this is one of our okay wheat fields. It's not great. I did replant some here super late, but this was planted either the last week of September or the first week of October. I don't remember exactly. Honestly, our wheat looks better now than it did in November. I'm not as pessimistic as I was. The problem is spots like this. There's just nothing here. But looking that way, it looks really good, actually. Like, quite good. So you can see we've got some dieback, all this brown stuff here. That's just winter browning. But the bottoms of the leaves are all still green. And if we can find a specific plant here, I think that's one plant from, I don't know, that's probably two plants. There's one, and we've got 1, 2, 3 and another, kind of 4 shoots there. Those are called tillers. You get the first main stem, and then you want tillers from there, and I see 2 good ones and another small one. You may get a few more of those in the spring. We call it spring tillers. Wonder why. But yeah, it doesn't look too bad. There's Grandpa. He's going to come check it out with us too. He had to run to the hardware store and get some parts for his wood shaper. Needed an electrical plug. Anyway, this doesn't look too bad out here. It's the thin spots, and I don't know how bad the thin spots are that's going to hurt us, like that. What do you got? 3, 4 tillers? Oh, that one's got more than one.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
The one I found had 4, so that's a better plant there. 300 per square yard, is that the right number?
600.
600 per square yard. So really you need to measure a square out and count them all, and I don't have that kind of patience.
Put a row and count them.
Yeah. Our wheat is generally better than we thought. It's a little thin over here, but it's there. We give it another 2 weeks, or really this week with the warm temperatures, things are going to start greening up and looking a lot different. We'll be able to tell a lot better, but we do need to get nitrogen on it fairly soon. You can see in the field next door to that one that it's starting to dry off on top. You can see all our tile lines. The dry streaks are the tile lines. The wet streaks are in between them, but it's drying it out. Still plenty wet. Nowhere near being able to plant any soybeans or anything like that, but or do any tillage work. But we're not that far off. Things are getting better. Here's another wheat field. This was the first one that we planted. This stuff was all planted real early and it has a good stand. I think this is probably our best wheat field right here. I'm not even going to stop and look at it because I don't need to, but we're a mile behind the farm there. You can see that. You see the farm, Grayson? Yep. It'll look a little different in another week or two when they get the siding on the new part of the barn. So, this is the wheat field you all wanted to see. You guys remember last fall? Super wet, right? We got rained out planting wheat. I think it was the 4th of October. Phil had been planting in this field over there along those trees and the rivers over there, and got rained out. We were not able to get back in to do anything until I believe it was the 8th of November. 8th, 9th, 10th of November. Might have been the 10th when we were in here. And I planted this field. We finished planting it really super late because, well, we just wanted to see what would happen. I have been planning all winter that this wheat field is not going to make it. That we will be tearing it out and planting soybeans back in here. But do you guys see what I see? Do you see it? Look at that. Do you see it, Bryson?
Yeah.
What is that?
Growing.
Growing. Do you know what's growing?
What?
It's wheat. That's the wheat we planted in November. Can you believe it? I can't hardly believe it. I can row that. That's just mind-blowing to me. So, now, this is clearly, yep, there's some. This is clearly way farther behind than that stuff that we planted earlier that we already looked at. We don't have the tillers here, which is why we seeded it as absolutely as thick as possible when we did plant this, because we knew or we weren't going to get the tillers, so we needed it to grow or have as many seeds as possible. But there you can see the actual seed on there. Maybe let me
See if I can get it to focus a little better. There's the actual kernel in the shoot, and we've got one main shoot coming off of there. It's too early to say that this wheat is going to make it, but there is certainly that possibility that we don't actually tear this out. And with the price of wheat right now being $10 to $11, the more we can keep, the better. I mean, there are other crops are really good prices as well, but if this was 70 plus bushel wheat potential here, it's probably worth keeping it. And 70 bushel is subpar for us anymore, but I don't know. There's actually something here, and I can't hardly believe it. That's fantastic. I'm shocked by that. We're gonna drive around this field a little bit, look around some other spots and see what it looks like. But wow. So right there is kind of the edge of a little bit of the wheat that made it from the first planting stuff that was done in October. So everything from here that way got planted. A lot of it got drowned out, and we ended up replanting it when we were in here late. Whether any of that stuff is still there or not, I don't know, because there's been water on it multiple times since we replanted it. But right here we've got a good stand. That all looks pretty good. Let's see if there's anything in here. I don't see any right here, but it may still be coming. Sometimes when you get water on it, it just delays it coming up more so than kills it entirely. I don't know. You see some? Okay, that's good. Let's see what's in the back over here. Oh, you can see we got some drowned out spots there with water sitting on it. I mean, it's not going to be great wheat, but it could be wheat, and we need wheat. So, man, I'm surprised. We may end up keeping this field. So this is all first planted stuff. Right about there is the line where it was all planted late after that. So what do we got out here? I don't see it here as much. I don't see anything here. Well, a little bit right there. It's just too early to tell yet. We need to give it a few more weeks to really know if we're going to have enough to save this or not. Here's another spot, and it's hard to see, but it's there. This wheat is very purple. You guys can see that coloring to it. That coloring, or that purpleness, it's not a brown from over winter or dead. It's could be phosphorus deficiency, which not necessarily deficient in the soil, just can't get it into the plant. The roots haven't found the phosphorus yet. Could also be just a buildup of sugars and stuff from photosynthesis, and being so cold that it can't relocate that stuff throughout the plant. But it will grow out of that. It's not a huge deal. Man, there is a stand in certain areas in here. It looks really good. Other areas, not so much. So we'll see. There is a scenario where we would tear part of this field out and plant beans and leave wheat in the rest of it. I don't know. That's unlikely, I would think, but it is possible. So we're just gonna have to keep an eye on this and come back and reevaluate in a couple of weeks when things grow a little bit more and it warms up and starts greening up. That stuff keeps shooting out of the ground. So the wheat, we can't plant more wheat in the spring because it has to go through a vernalization process. Basically, it has to go dormant and cold after it sprouts. The wheat does not have to be out of the ground before that happens, but it has to have at least sprouted. So if this wheat that we planted in November is at least sprouted, which what we can see obviously was, it'll produce a wheat head, it'll tiller out, and then eventually we'll joint and it'll make wheat. And that's what we're after, so there's a chance. All right, well, Grayson went in to take a nap, so he's in the house, and then, been working on a few other things. We are going to change tires on this tomorrow. That's the big thing that we've got to get out of the way. I think Dad's going to help me out with that in the morning. We're going to put the floats on, the big wide ones, better for working in the spring when we're not trying to follow rows so much, and in the wheat and everything. So we're going to do that. We're going to probably take it outside and power wash tomorrow afternoon, get it all cleaned up best we can,
clean the cab out. And, oh yeah, another thing, if I get it today, and I may or I may not, or tomorrow, I ordered a MGT, a modular telematics gateway, for this sprayer. And what that does is the communications link to wirelessly transfer data from the display in the cab to the My John Deere account. And the sprayer is the one thing that I have that's the hardest to get data off of, because I'm not the one driving it, and you have to transfer it with a USB stick, which is fine, but it usually happens about twice a year, once sometime in July, and then again at the end of the year when we're done. And it would be really good to be able to get that data in there as it's happening, so that I can kind of track it and keep an eye on it and know where some of my different trials and splits and side-by-sides and that kind of stuff are. So we're going to go ahead and add one of those to the sprayer. It's kind of an involved process. We got to tear the floor mat out. We got to take some stuff off, the side consoles and stuff. And I think we actually got to take the cap off of the roof and put an antenna up and underneath there, run some wire harnesses and stuff. So we'll figure it out, but that's going to happen as soon as we get the stuff. It may not happen tomorrow or before we do the wheat, but eventually. So anyway, that's planned for tomorrow here. Thursday, we've got tires for that 8R coming in, so we're going to have to get stuff swapped around and get that tractor in the shop here so we can get ready to work on that. But anyway, thanks for watching today. Questions, comments, leave them down below. If you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. We're getting real close to 20,000. Very, very close. So help me get there, please. Thanks. We'll see you guys later.